Hello, everyone. My name is Mario Barba, and I have the honor of spending the time with our friend Sandra Zavala-Ortega. And we are here. I am a dual language coach at Martin Luther King Elementary, and I am going to be here running this fun interview with our very first Latina president of our school board. How exciting is that? Sandra, that is going to be our first question that I think we should address is that how does it feel? How does it feel to be not only our first Latina on our school board, but our first Latina president on our school board? How does that feel?
It still feels very surreal to be on the board and also to be the first Latina. I think it's a very, humbling. I feel very honored to be on it, and also the fact that the community members elected me. So it's, I feel very honored and happy.
Yeah. And can you kind of talk to us about why it's important to have that like diverse representation on the school board?
Yes, I think it's really important. Being that I am the first Latina on the school board, I'm bringing in what we would say 30% of our representation that is Hispanic. I'm not saying that I represent all of them because each individual has their own thoughts and minds and perceptions, right? But I do come with what you would say different perspectives of what my lived experiences within the Hispanic community. So I represent our migrant community, our SPED community, special education. And so with all those, I bring in a different perspective and different thoughts. And so I'm able to advocate in a different way.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's an honor to have you, and I know the work that you're doing, and yeah, I know that it's going to be great work. But my next question is kind of asking, why did you want to go for this? What inspired you to run and to go through the election process, and what was your kind of your moving forward push, your motivation?
Well, more than anything, I had friends who were motivating me and a particular mentor who motivated me to apply when I was appointed. And then from there, really the reason I chose to take part is representation, to be able to advocate for our underrepresented community, which is what we talked about, is the 30% Latino, 40% BIPOC, so our students of color who are not represented in our leadership.
Yeah. It's important to have that voice at our table. It's important to have that voice, especially in decisions that are made at the board meetings. And I'm sure that you know firsthand how important those decisions are for all families. So yeah, it's great to see you up there. Can you kind of run us through your day to day or your week to week? What does your stuff look like? What are some things that you have to do?
Yeah. First, I do like to emphasize or explain that as school board directors, we, even though it's a lot of work, we are elected officials and we do not get paid. This is volunteer work. So my day-to-day, I would say as a current president, is making sure that I'm just in communications with our superintendent and all of our board directors. I'm kind of the liaison in a sense between the board directors and the superintendent, so making sure that all communication is flowing well. But as just a board director, really is same communication, and also on a weekly to month basis visiting schools, going to community events, and going to our board meetings, which typically are Tuesday nights. I just have it reserved every Tuesday night, even if we don't have a meeting. It's just a reserved Tuesday night board meetings. And second Tuesday is our regular board meeting. Third Tuesday is our whole group. So it's we go over what's going to go for the next month. And then our study session is our the third Tuesday of the month, which is we go over departments or programs and kind of just go on a deeper dive.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very important work, and and volunteer too, so you gotta do something on the side to make that money, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's Can you let us know a little bit about yourself? How long have you lived in Vancouver? Where are you from? Where's your family from? Kind of let us know about what brought you here to Vancouver.
So my parents are from Mexico. We immigrated here and to California. I was born in California, and then we moved to Washington. My parents moved to La Center on a berry farm. So we were there for a few years. Then we moved to Hazeldale, which is where I was able to start elementary school at Sarah J. Anderson, and then I went to Discovery, and then I went to high school at Fort Vancouver.
Wow, so you were born and raised here. Well,
yes,
not
born, but
just
raised
here in Vancouver. That
yes.
is awesome. That is fantastic. And then to have you on our board, I'm sure that it's probably like full circle. You never even saw it coming.
It very much is.
That's awesome. And so, what can you? I know about you simply from your. You've done some photo shoots for me and my family,
yes.
and you've also have a very fun, I should say, profiles on Facebook and Instagram and social media. So what are some things that you like to do here in Vancouver? What are your favorite things, favorite spots?
Well, I think more than anything, like any Pacific Northwesterner, I love my coffee. So I do love going to different coffee shops. So my son and I, that's kind of one thing we do like to do. I do like going on walks. I think my favorite is going to the waterfront and just going on a walk. That really brings a lot of relaxation. And I love going to community events. I think that's really just my favorite is being within the community and getting to know individuals. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important. And I think that that's partly of why you're such a great mentor and advocate for our
yes.
for our communities, just because of the idea that you are out in the community and you don't shy away. You're not just a recluse in your house.
Yes.
You're out and you're a public figure, and people probably see you and recognize you. And I think the more you're on there, the more you'll be recognized, I hope,
yes.
right? And and so kind of explain to us, what do you like to do on your free time, if you have any?
Right. So when I do have free time, I think like you mentioned, I do photography. It's been about 2-3 years now that I've had my business. And so on the weekends is really the time I get to do a lot of that. And then if I do have that, if I don't have that, I spend a lot of time with my son. And also my husband. My sister is a big person that I spend a lot of time with. My brother depends on his availability, but but other than that, I spend time. I like to spend time with friends. And I think just really quality time is what my love language is quality time.
Definitely.
So anything that to me, it's more about who I'm spending time with rather than like where I'm going. I can go anywhere. And as long as I have good company.
That's awesome. Yeah. Family and friends. Without them, where would we be, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so my next question, and we'll say my second to last question, is what are your goals for your position now, being the president, and as well as what are your goals for the foreseeable future of you being on our board? What are some things that you would like to see happen here in Vancouver?
Well, I think one of my biggest goals, as I think I mentioned as president, is how we can improve as our communication, not only within the board and the superintendent, but within our community, how we can be more accessible and transparent. But I think as me, when I'm talking about me as a director, my biggest goal is implementing our equity policy to its best. But more than anything, when we talk about equity for all, I think it's great, and I love that that's where the goal is. But I think when we started equity, the main goal is for our students who are not represented, to really have that equity. So I think that's really what my goal is, to make sure that I advocate and keep speaking for them.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that they need a warrior up there for them. And we're gonna end it on a positive note. What has been the best moment or best part of being a board member on Vancouver Public School?
For me, the best my favorite things have been meeting with students. But my best moment was when I got to speak at the Vancouver High School graduation, because it was a full circle, right? To know that I was in those seats years ago, not too long ago, right? But I never would imagine to be where I am today. And so I hope I'm able to motivate other students.
Yeah, no, you definitely are motivating other students. You're inspiring other students, and even those little Sandras in those seats, they
Yes.
might not know one day that they'll be a president on the school board, but you know, it can happen.
Yes.
Obviously, it has happened,
Yes.
and so I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for just being excellent. And
Thank you.
I don't think that there's anybody else in our community that would do the job that you're going to do, and I think that you are it. You are obviously the chosen one.
Oh.
We'll call you that.
Well, thank you,
so
Mario.
thank you so much. I appreciate you, and yeah, thank you all.